Okay, I am back. The storm has stopped, so we should be able to finish off. I'm going to do this in as quick a way as possible. So um, I don't remember exactly where I left off, but this is where I'm going to start. I think this is about right. So if we look at the relation consequence, what we're going to end up with is hopefully an understanding of how our questions and our responses to behavior promote behavior that we see in the future. So I ask, what is 2 plus 2? Student responds 4. I say, good job, that's right. All right, so I have an antecedent. What's 2 plus 2? I have a behavior, 4, the student response of 4, and I have a consequence of good job. So in a vacuum, what's happening is if good job is functioning as a reinforcer based on what we spoke about last week, then when I ask what's 2 plus 2 in the future, the child is more likely to say 4 because they want to hear me say good job. That's it. All right. That's how we learn. If I say what's 2 plus 2, the child says 5. I say, no, that's not right. The answer is 4. If the child doesn't want me to say, no, that's not right in the future, then they're going to change their behavior so that they no longer say 5 and instead they say 4, like I modeled for them. So the antecedent, what's 2 plus 2? The behavior, they say 5. The consequence, I say, no, that's not right. That changes their behavior so they're less likely to say that in the future. And through this antecedent behavior consequence relation, that's how we change behaviors, whether it's academic behaviors or self-management or classroom management behaviors. It's the same concept for all of them. But what we have to understand is that the student doesn't exist in a vacuum. Rather, we have the student and the teacher who are interacting with each other. I say, what's 2 plus 2? That's my behavior. And that behavior is functioning as the antecedent for the student. When the student says 4, that's a consequence for my behavior of asking what's 2 plus 2, that I actually attended to. Is the student ready? Are they ready to learn? Are there all these things in place for the student to be able to respond? And in addition, it is an antecedent for me to behave again, saying good job, which is the consequence for the student. So in this way, our behavior and the student's behavior are intertwined or interlocking throughout the course of the day. So let's take another look at an example. Before we do that, it's important to understand that this relationship just goes on and on and on and on, and we interact with each other the whole time. So another example, my behavior, student walks into the room, I say, I prompt the student to say hello. That's an antecedent for the student. The student then says hello. And all the oranges are different behaviors, right? So the student says hello, which consequates me saying say hello as something that will elicit behavior from the student in the future. That's an antecedent for me to also consequate the student saying hello, and I say, good job, you did say hello, nice work. That is a consequence for the student to continue to say hello when I say hello, and it is an antecedent for them to wait for the next antecedent. So that's a consequence for me, and the antecedent for me to deliver the next antecedent, which is wave, and that's the consequence for them waiting, and the antecedent for them to behave in the next way. So this goes on and on and on all throughout the day. Because this interaction exists, when a student is not learning, we have to be able to look at our own behavior for how for how we can change in order to impact student change. Students will not just learn in a vacuum, they learn by responding to us. And the Learn Unit provides for that. We as teachers are central in the Learn Unit. The student responses and the student behavior throughout changes as a function of what we are doing. If we separate our behavior from student behavior, students are not going to demonstrate learning. In other words, if I say what's 2 plus 2 and the student says 5 and I say good job, their behavior isn't going to change. Conversely, if the student says 5 and I say nope, but I don't give them the answer, their behavior might change, but it's not going to change in a meaningful way. Maybe they'll say 6, maybe they'll say 7, maybe they'll say 0. If student says what's 2 plus, or I say what's 2 plus 2, the student says 4, and I don't say anything, the student is less likely to emit that behavior, even though it's accurate. So through all of this, we have to make sure that our behavior is appropriate to so that we can continue to see the behavior that we want. So the Learn Unit, though, those 3-term contingencies, those ABCs, don't exist in a vacuum. We have to consider other factors that are going to have an impact on student outcomes. We have to think of things like motivation. Does a student want the good job? Does a student want the token? Does a student want the praise or the candy or whatever it is that we are putting up as a possible reinforcer? Are there things in the environment that are impacting the way the student learns? Are there things like temperatures? Is it too hot? Is it too cold in the room? Are they hungry? Are they tired? Did they get in a fight at recess? What happened, or did anything happen that is going to impact how a student contacts antecedents and consequences? Probably most importantly, we have to look at what the student brings to the table, their instructional history. Does the student have the prerequisite skills in order to acquire the information that we are presenting to them? If they do not, then no matter what we do, they're not going to get there. The environment can be appropriate, they could be motivated, we could be asking clear questions and have good reinforcers, but if they don't know how to add, they're not going to learn how to multiply. And finally, we have to take into account the physical history